here sharing our insights and expertise in high tech and our adjacency to semiconductor. I'm Ang Jung and my partner.
My name's Amy Williams.
Today we're going to be presenting kind of the back end of semiconductor. We own a design consultancy, and we pick technology, semiconductor technology, and study and design it into the hands of the final user. So from our perspective, we are looking at where does the application of technology, how do people want to use it, and then we design and engineer from that. And we'll share more shortly about our perspective. So in our talk today, we want to show how technology is used to transform culture. It transforms how we communicate, how we work, how we study, even how we live life. And so we will be taking a perspective of the market analysis of technology, specifically semiconductor, where the growth is happening and why that growth is happening. And we are going to share about our insights on how technology is adopted, what happens to culture, what is causing technology to transform culture, as well as when does culture make demands of technology that technology should push into. To give a little bit insight from our perspective, like I said, Amy and I are owners and principals of Mixer Design Group. So we are a product design consultancy. So we specialize in high technology consumer electronic projects. So companies like Meta, Google, Intel, Dell, they partner with our companies to design projects. So many times we are selecting new technologies, helping mature those technologies and develop the R&D so it can be going into scale. And then we do the design and engineering of the product. We study the marketplace. How do people want to use this technology? And we do a lot of innovative design and engineering. And then we also partner with manufacturing groups, because for what we specialize in, there's a lot of innovation in manufacturing and assembly of the products too. So we come from the perspective of the final product that is being used by the people. We work with many large technology companies, all the large global ones like Meta, Intel, Google, Dell, Ford. And I share that not just to help establish our credibility, but also when we work with so many different groups, sure, they all work differently. They assess technology differently. They integrate technology differently. But there's a lot of similar themes in how we integrate technology, how we evaluate technology. And so when we share today, we're sharing from those insights on what is common with all of our clients in how they integrate technology, and thus where is the future and the path forward for technology. Because of our specialty, because we do have expertise in both technology R&D and design and engineering and manufacturing and assembly, we end up doing a lot of wearable technology lately, and we'll explain more why later. But wearable technology requires expertise in all three of those dimensions of product design: semiconductor technology, design engineering, and manufacturing.
So when I think about where to put our energy for our business and what do our customers need and where are we headed with our resources, we look at, using the lens of the semiconductor market is an interesting space for us. Our emphasis is consumer electronics, but we look and try to see how that fits within the full range of all the different markets using semiconductors. Consumer electronics by volume is more than half. It's a substantial amount. Of course, AI infrastructure, this is really talking about the data centers. That's a substantial part. But obviously AI is actually in everything now. So when you say what portion is AI, AI is part of everything. And so while we focus on consumer electronics, we're seeing we say where's the growth happening? And historically we've seen an 8% growth in semiconductors. But it's, as discussed by some of the previous speakers, really a lot of the growth is taking off in the infrastructure for AI. But from our perspective, we really focus on wearable technology. And one of the most exciting sectors we see within wearable technology is smart glasses. That's an area of expertise for our firm. And we kind of wonder, why is this happening? Well, I think smart glasses are having a moment in terms of the technology that's provided by the semiconductor research. It finally has the right set of features, the right sizes for us to design products that are appropriate for the market. And the manufacturing advances that have happened have brought the cost down. So I think that's one of the reasons that we're finally seeing acceptance. We've been working on smart glasses for years, but it's exciting to see it finally really taking off with a lot of our clients.
So we share kind of the market growth for semiconductor for a couple reasons. One, it's where the market is, so technology should push into that area. But also, we'll show shortly, some of those markets are created and growing because of innovations in technology. So in the next part of our presentation, we kind of want to show the progression of technology and its major milestones. Namely, we want to call out 3 different perspectives. What innovations happened in semiconductor industry to enable this milestone? What innovation happened in product design and development to enable it? And also, how did it transform culture? How did people adopt this new technology, and what changed when technology was introduced? So the first time semiconductor sold in the millions was with calculators, 1971. The invention here was the advent of semiconductor technology at scale, mass production, PMOS and CMOS. And it was $245 at the time, which is equivalent to $2,000 now, but it sold in the millions. The first time computing technology sold in the millions. The following year, price reduced by 40%. It was only $150. A couple years later, $25. Here's our version of Moore's Law. Rather than showing the exponential computing power, look at how the price reduction happened. And what I want to call out is this was transformational because it was the perception of technology. Before the calculator, technology was viewed as something of just the elite or just the academics or space travel or sci-fi. Now it is in the mass market, it's mainstream, and that was revolutionary at the time. At the same time, right around the same time, there was kind of visions of the computer, the personal computer. Apple had a vision of a computer in every home. We didn't know what every home needed a computer for. That was such cutting technology, but Steve Jobs wanted it to be like a home appliance. He wanted every home to have it. So in that, he designed computers to be accessible and simple to use. IBM had a different vision. They were picturing computers in every office. Again, we take that for granted now, but at the time, we didn't know what every office was going to do with a computer. But IBM had a vision of a computer in every office. It's going to revolutionize how we work. In that, they invented they established the PC architecture, allowing multiple groups to kind of work together to customize PCs for different applications. And they were both right. We can look back, and there is a PC in every home and in every office. It was revolutionary. They really took off, so much that people wanted it everywhere. They didn't want it just in their home or in their office. They wanted to be able to take it with them. So that brought about the next milestone, the portable computer, the laptop computer. The challenge here, I guess let me go back one slide. When we were doing PCs, this is actually where my career started, was designing PCs for Dell and Compaq and HP. But the priority was computing power. Secondary was power efficiency mattered less, thermal efficiency mattered less, even size of the computer was not as relevant. It was all about getting the most computing power as possible. But when the customers adopted computing technology as part of their everyday lives, as the most powerful tool at the time, they wanted it everywhere and added a new metric. It wasn't just about computing power anymore. It was about performance per watt, efficiency, because the laptop needs to last more than 10 minutes on a battery. So the thing I want to call out was the PC introduced computing as a tool, and it really took off, and it revolutionized how we work, how we study. And now with the laptops, computers the people were wanting computers more integrated into their lives.
And I'm going to talk about the next revolution was smartphones. I began my career at Qualcomm in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was a really exciting period of time. We were, we were introducing CDMA, and we were working on phones, but they were primarily just telecommunication devices. But then, I was part of the group. We were starting to integrate more and more technology. I can assure you, people really didn't quite know what people were going to do with it. It was just, again, there was new technologies being integrated, and before that was also during the time was BlackBerry. But even when BlackBerrys were involved, they were still just a tool. People were still just inputting data differently. It wasn't yet transforming the way your lives you're going to do things much more differently, use it in a way that you hadn't expected. And it wasn't until when you started developing apps for phones, when people started being able to, lots of different groups began to work together and create different apps, that phones eventually became a lifestyle device, which was a completely different use model than just previously a tool used for work, or school. It became an entirely different way of viewing this product in your life. Which kind of brings us forward to the generation that we're in right now, and where our company spends most of our time these days is wearable technology. And this is a particularly exciting time because a lot of these technologies they're being integrated into totally new products. It's not taking a product that kind of existed and making it portable. It's taking technology and adding it to watches, to phones, to glasses. But there's a lot of challenges with that, because now you're basically going to be, a user is going to be comparing these to their non-technology equivalents. Glasses are obviously a very good example. You're adding technology, but they still need to work as glasses and function as glasses. And people don't want people to see the technology; they just want it to be integrated. And so there's challenges with weight and performance and all of that. But then there's also from our perspective, the UX challenges are immense. Like, how does a person interact with that when there's no screens and no buttons, and how can you make it intuitive? And so that's where we spend a lot of our time right now, and it's really just this integrated product development space. And so that's what a lot of customers are coming to us and asking us about and talking to us about, and our designers are studying this and coming up with new different ways of interacting with products. So it's a very exciting period of time.
So Amy brought up how wearable technology is the current growth trend for at least our industry. It's one of the largest markets and fastest growing markets, and where the challenges are. And so we highlight that last progression to kind of highlight one thing. What is the trend in how milestones progressed from calculators to PCs, laptops, smartphones, and now wearables? And what clues can we get to go forward? Well, the trend is integration. I'd like to highlight those trends as how those progressed in both two different industries, in the semiconductor and advanced packaging industry, and also system integration and product development. With the PC, the integration that happened was integrating with the CPU. That was just addressed by Dr. Sabi. Before, computers were many discretes on huge motherboards. Now we are consolidating, integrating all that into a CPU. With the laptop, more integration was happening with a multi-core processor. And again, with smartphones, more integrating. We're integrating the antenna into the housing. And then again, with wearable technology on the semiconductor industry, more integration is happening again, especially with advanced packaging and also integrating memory and sensors and UI components. The same thing was happening in Amy and I's industry. In product design and development, we were integrating things in the PC by using the standardized architecture. But when the demand was making that more compact and portable and efficient, we kind of had to break that architecture and begin to integrate the design of the keyboard, power, motherboard. More integration happened in the smartphone. Now we're beginning to consolidate parts where one part can do multiple functions. For example, in latter generations of the iPhone, we began to use the housing as part of the antenna. And same with wearables, more integration in the form of a single part, like eliminating parts. The example I can show here is actually, this is one of our projects, that smart glass. Normally the hinge is kind of the weakness of a smart glass, but the way we designed this project, the hinge is part of the antenna. Just kind of the iPhone or the smartphones are doing that also. But we also added wireless charging as a function of the hinge also. So in order to bring that technology as wearable as possible. So this is where we are now. What is the next step? Where do we progress from here? Well, the next step will be having these two industries more integrated, the semiconductor industry and the product design system integration industry. And that's already kind of happening. It's happening in the semiconductor industry with SoC and especially advanced packaging and SiP. It's bringing semiconductor industry closer to the farm that the industry that we are working in, and our industry, product design, is starting to integrate the sensors, antennas, and interconnects, trying to bring our end of the industry closer and closer to the ICs and the semiconductor. So there'll be challenges. There'll be challenges as these two industries come together. Most notably, the pace of development. In Amy's career, we've been in this industry for about 26 years now. The pace has nearly doubled. When we were working on computers and laptop computers, we went from concept to production in about 2.5 years. Now we're doing much more complex projects, wearable technology in about half that time. And I think that is where advanced packaging and SiP can really meet that demand, because that could work at that pace and that scale. And the opportunities? Well, as these two industries come together and begin to collaborate, there's whole new opportunities for innovation and IP. And that's something we're really excited about, which is kind of why we are here.
So we want to thank everyone for listening, and we kind of want to make sure and ask the question to everyone, like, why are we here in Vietnam talking? You know, it's what's brought us here? Well, like many other companies, we came here initially for some of the opportunities with manufacturing some of the products we design. But the longer we've spent here, and we've been working for a number of years with different groups in Vietnam, and the longer we stay, the more and more connections we grow, the more we learn about the culture here and all the innovation that's happening, and the willingness to participate and the desire to grow. And so we're you know, it's great because An and I, we spend our time looking to see what value we can bring to our clients. You know, we have clients in many different large companies in the U.S., and the opportunity to explain to them when we tell them, oh, this is our experience there, I think that sometimes that resonates a little bit more because, you know, we can say, oh, we've been there and we know this group of people and they're innovators. And so we thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to finding new ways to grow.
Xin được trân